Three, two, one. Welcome to the Peace and Music Podcast. I'm your host, Pete Ellis, and today I've got an awesome guest. He's a little more than I even realized. We went to school and we kind of grew up in the same area in Berwyn and knew some of the same people, and I saw that he was fighting and stuff like that. But as I dug deeper, looking into what he does, I was quite surprised. So stay tuned, and we're going to talk about some cool stuff. It's Mr. Nam Ho. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Pat. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm so excited to have you on, man. So what's been going on in the fighting world?
Well, with the current situation, there's really nothing going on, really.
Right now,
We're just
with you, I haven't talked to you since you started, right? So
ages, yeah, decade.
I was watching some of your fights and I was like really like impressed, man. It's like, you know, I remember when maybe you were just getting started or something, but like I remember
Yeah,
you and Dave and a few others were getting into like protein powders and
yeah,
things like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
And to see that like that's the like you knew that direction kind of early on, I feel.
Yeah, kind of. It was just something that I just took part of me for who I am, and yeah, I just kind of ran with it. And you start to explore, and as you develop, you search into what you like and what you don't like. And I think venturing out to fighting was something that I gravitated towards. So,
Absolutely, absolutely. Let me just adjust the microphone here and get you better sound.
okay.
That'd be better. Okay, so we're gonna jump around because as I was looking into your stuff here, I was on there was a website. The first one that popped up had some stuff. It's the place you train at. What is
Okay.
that place called?
Currently, I'm training at Maximus Muay Thai. It's out in Roselle.
Yeah. So I looked at your profile on that, and it said that by day you're a water chemist.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I work as my 9 to 5, my morning job. I work as a chemist, which I study in school and got my degree in. And by night, I'm a kickboxer or dash fighter.
That's so crazy. It's such a
Yeah.
like that's cool, man. I'm like it blows my mind when I talk to people who do such crazy different things. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You, to to have the mind of like, all right, let's do something in water because we're all made of water, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then like be a total opposite on the other end of like I'm gonna beat the water out of you. Like,
That's that's right. Yeah, it's definitely different contrasting personality, lifestyle, demeanor, and everything as well. When you're in a lab coat, you're doing very analytical work, and then you're going in there and you're trying to pick a fight with someone or learning how to fight. Yeah.
uh, so so what can you tell me about water? Like what is like something that you do that maybe we don't understand about water chemistry?
About the water. Um, with the current situation, water, there's a lot of, because of the piping from years upon years ago, there's a lot of metal that's in the water. I think that's something that we have to be careful about.
Mhm.
There's going to be some metal, it's just how much is too much. I think
How much
that's,
is
yeah, yeah.
like no, I'm
Um,
asking like
oh, you're asking. I think the standard is probably anything below or hovering around 10 ppb, which is part per billion. If you're hovering around that, you're kind of okay, but anything beyond that is a little high for me. That's for my personal experience and my personal preference. So yeah.
so different professionals kind of run at different levels.
You're right. Different. The levels are stated according to the EPA, the federal, all those jurisdiction. Yeah, what is allowed, quote unquote.
And what is the so that is that the same number, the 10 billion parts per or 10
No,
what is
that's just my personal number. I don't know the exact number. However, when I see something that's in the water, depending on what type of metal you're looking for, but around 10 ppb would be like the safe side. Anything that is above that can be dangerous, or well, I shouldn't say dangerous, but something you want to look into. You don't want to over consume that much.
Mm-hmm. And are there ways, do you know of ways to take the water out of your own drinking water, or maybe even out of your own body? Are you familiar with, like, how do you get rid of the metals?
That's a really hard tactic. Metal, it kind of just stays in your body. Sweating it out, you're just sweating out the H2O. As far as for the metal, it just kind of stays in your body and it kind of binds to your system. As in general, your body metabolizes and breaks it down over time. However, that number is unknown because people vary from people to people, from person to person, I should say. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. So what got you into that?
Well, I initially wanted to become a doctor. My mother wanted me to become a doctor, so I went with a science degree because I didn't know any better from how to obtain a medical degree or go to medical school. I got into chemistry because I liked the applicational science of chemistry, and I went in there but it was really hard. Chemistry is interesting, but higher level, it became incredibly difficult for me to grasp, and then it was just hard in general. It took some time for me to earn my chemistry degree. Unfortunately, I ended up not going to medical school and just pursued chemistry because that's what I got into and that's what I got involved to. And currently, I was working in various fields of chemistry. I did, makeup, solder, and the past maybe 10 years, I kind of focus upon, or I reluctantly got into environmental chemistry. And now I'm currently transitioning over to water chemistry.
Okay. So makeup and solder, you said?
Yeah. I worked at Avon. It's a makeup company. I'm not sure if a lot of people are aware of that company, but it was really popular back in the 80s, even 90s, and
What
early.
company was it?
Avon.
Oh, Avon. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of people, it was really a hot product back in the day, and I worked there for a little bit. I test all of the raw material that came in, and yeah, and I also test how how makeup was made, such as lip gloss, perfumes, dye, soap, shampoo. So that was really cool.
You don't do that anymore?
I don't. I did a contract job for them for about, I think, 8 months, and after my contract was over, they released me, and then I transitioned over to solder, and that was interesting as well because it was just a different form of chemistry, and I worked in the quality control, so I didn't test the final product that came out because when at Avon I tested the initial product, the product was going to be made into makeup, but now I got the stuff that's after. So that was interesting and it was also really difficult.
So were you testing like how what the percentage of like what is it, 80/20 or something like that? Are you making sure it's consistent? Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, the consistency, the viscosity of the material. There's a list of parameters I gotta follow. Then they all have to they all have to fit that criteria. Yeah.
Right on. All right, so then on to environmental.
Yeah, I did environmental chemistry. I I analyze wastewater, drinking water, soil oil product that was coming in, stuff from manufacturing companies that was just coming out of the drain. I analyzed how toxic it could be and how um, it would affect the environment. I tested soil. So I did that for a little bit. I tested PCB, pesticide, um, total petroleum hydrocarbons. I did a bunch of stuff,
Uh,
phthalate.
so, from your experience, or for like in your household, what do you do to filter and keep yourself safe from all of that?
The what in what way? In the terms of water, in water
So, like,
temperature, or
you know more about that kind of stuff. Do you take extra precautions at your own home? Like, what,
yeah.
as far as everything, water especially, but in general, the pesticides you use and all of that?
Yeah. So the pesticide, all of that stuff, I steered towards organically made fruits and vegetables, because it has been shown that that the more we ingest pesticide in general does affect our body. The pesticide and herbicides are huge macromolecules, and that is incredibly taxing for our liver. So when I buy things at the grocery store, I focus on things that's organic, and I understand that you can't always get organically produce produce or fruit. Um, so but I make an effort to do that.
And so, what about water?
Water, well, normally the water in Chicago is quite good. We're not talking about the best. Well, it could be in maybe in the top five. Um, but a filter is always helpful. That's something that I do. Um, yeah, that's for daily consumption.
Sorry, say that again.
For daily consumption, I would assume I would go with filter water. It also depends on like the part of the city that you're in or where you're at as well. Like the older places, the piping can become in central old, and that affect the quality of your water. Newly
Yes.
development communities, you don't really have that issue because some of the infrastructure of them years upon years ago, they don't know any better. So that's why you have the older pipes, and that can be toxic for
Mhm.
your body
And we as a
over
country,
time.
sorry, say that again. The last
Over
part.
time, it can be incredibly toxic for your body.
Yeah. That's one of those things about our country is like we haven't started like rebuilding some of that older infrastructure that we know is bad, and now we're starting to see places like Flint, Michigan, and other places that the
Yeah,
water can become not drinkable and flammable, and
yeah,
you know,
yeah. Michigan. Well, Michigan's issue is I think it was they didn't have somebody that was constantly monitoring their water. City of Chicago, or the place I work at, we constantly monitor the water that's coming in and out of the city. So yeah, that can be incredibly helpful.
yeah. Wow, man, that's some crazy stuff. Like I just was like, I don't know a whole lot about fighting, so I want to like know more about you because it's been so long since we talked. So I dug in, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't even believe that this dude does this too. It's like
Yeah,
such an like I would like I could almost just talk to you about that because it's
yeah,
so interesting to me. But
yeah.
but, but we'll jump over and talk a little bit more about fighting.
Okay.
So you're transitioning, assuming we get back into the normal swing of things, into
Mhm.
boxing.
Yeah, I'm looking to box a little bit more. I've been doing Thai boxing, or I initially started out doing MMA, and then I met somebody. His name was Robbie Cole. He took me under his wing. He trained me, and he got me into Thai boxing. And I did that and Thai boxing and kickboxing, and I did that for maybe with him maybe another like 8 years, and then I transitioned. I still trained with him, and then I transitioned over to Maximus Muay Thai under Richard Abraham. He fights for Glory World Series,
Okay.
So he's wealth of experience. So, and I train under him as well. So I've gotten an opportunity to train with um, people who have been really knowledgeable in this sport.
That's really awesome, man. That's really cool. So you've had like a few bigger opportunities were you in Glory in a
Yeah, I fought in Glory. I fought for the U.S. belt, the U.S. title, and then I fought for the an opportunity to fight for Team USA kickboxing as well. So yeah,
and what belt did you hold?
I just hold an amateur belt at a
Uh, a
like
lightweight
or-
or something?
yeah, lightweight or something. I don't know. It was years ago. Yeah,
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah,
I just saw like on your list that you had held a belt. I wasn't sure how all that
yeah,
worked. So
yeah.
so what happens there? You basically you get a belt, and then if you don't keep fighting for it, they just relinquish it. They take it
Yeah,
and
they ask you to defend it, and then if they have opponents for you, they ask you if you want to move up, move away, or relinquish the belt. So I won the belt, and then a couple months later, I fought to defend it. I ended up knocking the guy out in the first 30 seconds of the first round. That was a kind of an incredible fight. That was on my Instagram. It was the guy just came out, kind of blitzed me, actually drops me in like the first, I don't know, like 15, 20 seconds of the first round, drops me. I get a standing 8 count, and he just comes after me even more. And then I just, like, you just bite down on your mouth guard and just throw haymakers. And I was lucky enough to drop him, and he didn't make the standing 8 count or 10 count. So that was it. That was it for him.
Wow. And so then what happens after that? Like so you defended and
Hmm.
you're still the champ.
Yeah, I was still the champ, and then there were just harder opportunities for them to have fighters uh, to compete. So I've had it where after him, they set up another fight, made weight. The guy ducked out. The guy, like, I don't know, he didn't come. He made weight as well, and then the next day he didn't show up.
For the fight,
That
like the day of the fight?
Yeah, the day of the fight, he didn't show up. And then there's another guy who we went we went up in weight because I guess he didn't make weight or something weird happened. So I went up in weight. I went up, I think 10 or 15 pounds, which is a couple weight class above me. And then the guy didn't. He was also a no-show as well. He didn't even show up to the weigh-in. Like, I showed up, weigh-in, and then that was a no-show. So um, that was, I think, the last time I fought for that promotion, and because it was so inconsistent, it wasn't because it was their fault or anything. It was just there wasn't any people available. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So then you moved on to so that was the same, you were still working under your first trainer at that point?
I was working primarily with him, and then I worked with my second trainer, Richard Abraham.
During that same time?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Cool, man. So then boxing, you were telling me that you recently reached out to Joel. Shout out Joel. It's been a long time, man. I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, yeah.
So what advice did he have to give you?
Just well, let's go back. So Joel, since we're all friends, he and I and you were all friends. We were same neighborhood. Back we went to what was it, Lincoln Middle School, right? We all
Yeah.
went together, and he started boxing when he was real young. He
Yeah.
took me to his boxing gym. It was back then. I think it was like 98, 99, or something like that. It was called Windy City Boxing.
I
So I
remember.
did a couple classes. He was a boxer, really experienced when we were kids.
Yeah.
And then he ended up moving, or just stuff just happens, right? Kind of drifted apart. He moved, and my current boxing coach, Carlos from Oakley Boxing Club, he was introduced to me by my Thai boxing coach, Robbie. Robbie ends up moving out to Colorado, so introduced me to Carlos, and Carlos and I have been working together for maybe like, what is it, 4 months now. It was different. Stylistically, it's different. Boxing, kickboxing, and Thai boxing. The hand speed is incredibly different. You can't kick. It's just in general different. And I reached out to Joel, talked to him for a little bit, and I showed him some clips of me sparring, and he just said, a little better footwork, because the footwork is different compared to boxing and kickboxing. You don't have to worry about getting kicked in the leg, right, or anything else, or knee. Yeah. So he and I talked, and it was really interesting to him. He's been keeping up with my fighting career as well, because I send him some clips of my fights, this and that. So, yeah, and that's how I reached out to him, and and here we are.
Yeah. I went to visit him down there several years back.
Yeah.
And it was really good to catch up, because he was my like across the street neighbor. Like we moved into the same neighborhood like a very close time from each other. It's like a week or so apart maybe. And so we were always kind of close, and then I move away, and then he moves away, and then like time goes on, and you don't get to see people for so long. So it's like when you get to like reconnect with old faces, it puts a special, it touches your soul in a special way.
Absolutely. Yeah. I can still remember the stuff you and I did, and then us three together. It was just,
Yeah. Fun times, man. Fun times.
Fun times indeed.
It's crazy how fast time goes by. Like I just had another guest from that old time, and like she's got a daughter that's already going to college.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, everybody that I still remember all the people that were kids, and now they have kids, or they're on their second or even third kid. So I'm just wow.
So no kids?
No kids for me. Just I got a little pup. I got a little dog. That's my kid.
Nice. That's enough responsibility, right? You've already
more than enough. Yeah.
So getting into water again. So you've do you have a blacklight filter on your thing, or what kind of filter do you use? A UV?
The filter for the water, just the one from Brita.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, nothing crazy.
Special.
Yeah. Nothing crazy. Yeah.
So what's the craziest thing that's happened to you fighting?
The craziest. When I defended my belt, that was kind of crazy because it was just 30 seconds. That was probably my number one. Number two was being called and like sparring these like pros or like guys that have fought in the UFC. That was kind of cool. And being able to kind of interact with all these people that you've seen on TV or you've seen on YouTube with their X amount of highlights and stuff. So that was probably cool. It's like, oh wow, you're not just on the screen. Like here you are in the flesh. Yeah.
What's the biggest venue you've performed at so far?
The biggest venue was I fought for Glory World Series at the UIC Pavilion. I think that was Glory 50. That was my biggest one that I fought in.
Was it a full show? Was it?
Yeah, it was a full show. I fought it under Glory 50. That was my biggest show that I fought, and the biggest title I fought was for I think it was called the WKA North American Kickboxing Champion or something like that. I fought that a couple years back.
Do you plan on actually getting into boxing, like actually having a fight?
Oh, absolutely. I plan to box on and off for whenever the opportunity kind of comes up. Yeah, but the transition, I'm still like transitioning. My skills that I'm trying to work on with my coach is slightly different from the skills that I've acquired for the past 8 to 10 years. So, yeah.
So are you gonna continue with MMA type of stuff too? Like, is this just an extension of like, are you gonna come back around to Muay Thai? Are you gonna
Oh,
keep?
absolutely. I think Muay Thai is my first love. I thought so. And I've been training in that sport for so long. Eventually, maybe if the opportunity presents itself, I might do MMA or might do even like some jiu-jitsu tournaments. So if the opportunity is there, I will take it. But it has to be there for me to do it.
Yeah. So when did you graduate from college?
I graduated from college, I think back in 2009. 2009. Yeah, and graduating college, struggling to find a job, and I think that's where I kind of ventured into fighting because I thought I would make an extra couple bucks here and there just to fight. So that's where I kind of thought that was a good idea, or that's where I wanted to go uh, to support myself was through fighting.
So have you been able to be profitable?
Profitable? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Um, the fighting game is incredibly hard.
Yeah,
Um,
no. As an artist, like that's why I ask because it's like you go for so many years without ever
mhm,
seeing I'm just paying,
yeah,
paying, paying.
yeah, yeah. You're hoping profitable is not the word I would say. Breaking even for your fight with all the work that you've put in. I'm just lucky enough that I have a 9 to 5 to support my quote unquote hobby. But it hasn't been profitable as much as I liked it to be, and that's okay because I still love it. And you never know. There's a couple more years left in me, so I could be. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's the same with me. Like, I mean, it's like you make enough to maybe to get you to the next level, right? But
Yeah.
it's like it's
Yeah.
not really enough to sustain you. If I had known that in an earlier age, like I just thought of because I just celebrated my birthday yesterday, and I just got to thinking like if I had known at 21 that I'd be 35 where I'm at, like I don't know if I would have pursued so
Yeah.
heavily, but like in hindsight, like it is what it is. But like now, like I'm further than I've ever been. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have these ideas of where you're gonna be, when you're young, and then 10 years goes by, 15 years goes by, and you look at like your accomplishments and like maybe you've accomplished some things, but sometimes you've not gotten quite as far as you would have liked to, right? And so it's like a wake up call when like I just like we're old enough to be president. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
That's true.
it's
That's true.
crazy.
That's true. I think especially being an artist and being a fighter, you have to be passionate about it. And you're gonna lose out the beginning of your career, and you're gonna lose, and you're gonna just gotta keep pushing and trying, and you have to be passionate about it because I've seen it. I've seen it where guys that were my friends and the guys I trained with who were incredible, I thought was talented, right? Was strong, durable, tough. A couple losses, and it just kind of was like, this isn't for me. After your first loss or your consecutive losses, that's when it becomes a little hard, and then you got to, bite down, dig deep, figure something out, and then
Yeah, boxing
try it
hurts,
again.
man. You have a couple of real bad fucking experiences, and then you're like, man, is this for me? Am I doing the right thing? Like,
Yeah,
what am I doing? And you have to really regroup and remember why you started and like hit it hard again the next time and hope that you don't do as bad. But a lot of people will get like in their head and then there won't be a next time. They
yeah,
just stop. And it's like you never know. You might have broken through your next round might have been the one that helped you reach that next plateau, but you never made it because you gave up on yourself.
yeah. That's absolutely true. That's completely true. And with fighting compared to any other hobby or other sport is the mistake that you have does have some dire consequences. You do get hurt. That just it is what it is as fighting, and you can say, oh, you don't get hurt, or yeah, you may not get hurt in the fight, but the training that you've done leading up to the fight, you were hurt, you get beat up, things were broken, you were cut, things happen, and you gotta kind of dig deep, figure out if this is what you want, if this is your passion, because if it's not, man, you don't want to take a beating, because it is what it is. It's you're going in there and you're taking a fight, regardless if you want to practice. Because I've seen it where guys come in, it's today's little day off, they get taken advantage of. Today wasn't my, whatever, you work, you didn't get enough sleep, you didn't get enough to eat. You go to sparring, you're training. The guy, you get beat on, and then you have to either regroup. It's like, okay, it happened, or you kind of fade out and say, oh, I don't want this anymore. I don't want to get beaten on. So yeah, you gotta love it, man.
Yeah, I mean that's like, I mean most things that are worth doing, you take some licks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it may not be physical like in fighting, but there is like some definite like knockdowns in everything that's worth doing.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
and so it's cool to like to talk to you and have like see the relation. Like I always like to see the connections between maybe what I'm doing and what other people do, and how all that, because as like basically small entrepreneurial like artists to say. I mean, granted, you're a fighter's not really an artist in that sense, but still, in today's world, we're all very much in that same lane of you have to do the whole social media marketing, all of the things that like any general entertainer does, right? It's interesting to see how other people handle that and they do, and what ideas they have to make things go further. And so how have you promoted your fights?
Well, thanks to the social media, I promote my fight through Facebook, Instagram, and I've just promoted myself there. And hopefully, a promoter or somebody can see it, and they're like, "Hey, this guy is good. He has the ability. He comes to fight," and then they can contact me and they can make it happen. Yeah, that's how I've been trying to reach out.
So how have you and yours been doing during this crazy time?
Crazy time. This is an understatement of what's happening, right? Haven't done anything much. Just trying to keep my cardio and I've just been running, shadow boxing, watching a lot of films. You can definitely study the fights, that's available to improve what you want to do. You can upgrade your mind, and if you can't upgrade your body, right?
Yeah. What's funny about that? So when I was young, I loved to break dance, and
That's right, you did.
with Dave Cazares and
there you go.
Cesar Ramirez,
Yeah.
and I remember like the first time I think Cesar had a VHS tape that had breakdancers on it, and before that, I had never seen good breakdancers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like this thing you heard about, and you would see somebody doing the 6-step or the worm or like the back spins and stuff, and maybe once in a while you'd see someone do a power move like a flare or a windmill or a head spin, but it was so rare back then. We're talking like maybe just before high school or right at high school, right? So like 99. And then the internet hits, you know what I mean? And like everyone can watch all of these things, like from BMX, like how do you do the BMX tricks, like foot by foot, like everything that happens. And the same with fighting. Obviously, fighting had been a much more popular sport, so there was footage a lot longer to watch. And so to study that, you get to see, where are my hands when he goes to swing, where is he standing, and where is his openings? And it's the same thing with breakdancing. Like, where is his hands when he does that pose? How does he put his where's his back twisting when he goes to do that move? And that is so awesome, like to
Yeah.
have that ability that I think people take it for granted. Like it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
before the 2000s, it
Oh,
was hard to find that
yeah.
stuff.
You just gotta figure it out on your own. You gotta get like VHS. Now you can just log onto YouTube and just watch. Right before you gotta go and grab your VHS or somebody has a recording of someone doing it. Yeah. 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 Modernization of technology is fantastic.
It's amazing, and it's only going to keep getting crazier. Like all the
Yeah.
good and the bad that comes with it. There's obviously
Yeah.
bad that comes with social media and some
Mhm.
of the technology and the overuse and the dependization of it, or however you want to call that.
Mhm.
But then there's also like the amazing things, like what we just said there, and like spreading of knowledge, and like to be able to look up, facts on. Obviously there's a spread of misinformation that maybe we
Mhm.
need to clamp down on. But to be able to access the information at your fingertips like that is really amazing, and I hope
Yeah.
we continue to grow. Have you heard anything about Neuralink?
Neuralink. No, I don't think so. I
So
don't think.
Neuralink is apparently Elon Musk's next venture of things to
Mhm.
like basically broaden our bandwidth. So like it's going to be a
Okay.
thing that gets put into our head basically, which is
Mhm.
crazy. But
Mhm.
like at the same
That's
time,
like Matrix stuff, right?
yeah, but at the same time, the things that he talks about being possible from having this, like
Right.
right now, like on our cell phones, right? Like we went from computers where we had basically like a 10-digit bandwidth
Mhm.
to phones where we only have a 2-digit bandwidth.
Mhm.
We got our thumbs and that's it we're working with.
Mhm.
So it's an incredibly slow process.
Yeah.
Where if it was just by thought or by some sort of impulse, it's so instantaneous.
Yeah.
But what he was talking about was being able to help people who can't walk, Parkinson's,
Mhm. Mhm.
vision loss, all of these things that are connected in the brain, and when with the technology of like nanobots and like nano
Mhm.
and stem cells and like
Mhm.
all of these new things, like we can go in like a Black Mirror type of way of like this goes crazy,
Yeah.
or like it could just be like the super future where
Yeah.
like we
Mhm.
figured
Definitely.
out our issue.
Definitely. Yep. Yeah. It can give us a longer lifespan. It gives fighters an opportunity to heal faster. It gives artists the opportunity to be more creative. It's a matter of how it's being used, and it's always a plus or minus thing, right? If you want to use it for good, then the opportunities are endless. If you want it to go for evil, then the opportunities are also endless.
Right? And so it's like really it's just people, and
Yeah.
it's the same thing with like the people in power and all of that.
Hmm.
Like there are good people who want to do good for the world, and then there are people who are just greedy and they're taking advantage of the system.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it, man.
It's just the way the world works, right? Like you
Oh yeah,
can't.
absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
anyway, so what would you like to tell some new fighters who are just getting into the thing, and maybe right now they can't even do anything, but they aspire, and once things open up they want to go out and have, maybe they're realizing time is precious and they've always wanted to fight, and as soon as things open they want to go out and they want to do it.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to them?
I think the first thing I would definitely say is like is this you got to be honest with yourself and tell yourself like is this what I want? Is this fighting what I want for one? Am I doing this for just a hobby or am I taking it seriously? And along with that is the passion for fighting, right? Because it's not basketball. You're not just who you're gonna get hurt, right? If you're not passionate or you're not vested into the sport, you can't have one foot in and one foot out. You got to be all in because regardless if it's a small show or an enormous show, you're gonna get hit and it's gonna hurt, right? So you got to be
To get hurt.
consciously aware of
Serious.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
leading up to training is serious, and you have to decide. It all starts with you. Like before, I think I relied so much on like, oh, this is what my coach said. Oh, I got to go what he said. Not really. You have to make that conscious decision of is this the right right thing for me? Is this what I want to do?
Mhm.
And then from there, you kind of find the coach that kind of aligns with you. It's very similar to you're building yourself a puzzle, and the puzzle is you, right? Then the other piece is you got to find the coach and or team that kind of aligns with you. This is what they want to push you. They also want to take care of you as well. The right training partners, and then you just kind of build from that. And then if you're successful, that's great. Then you've got it. And if you're not, it's okay if you need to change a couple things here and there. There's going to be ups and there's going to be a lot of fucking downs, right? There's going to be a lot of downs. And the downs will definitely make or break you as a person. Sometimes, you know, it could be a simple, losing a single loss, or you can have something that's devastating, which is like, you get knocked out, right? And I've been on both ends of the spectrum. You have the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. And from there, and it's constantly train, right? If you're really into it, constantly train, right? And that's pretty much it for me. That's my advice. And if you make it, just remember who got you there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. So far for college, like obviously you struggled to get through chemistry, you said.
Oh, absolutely. Actually, initially um, I went to Concordia University, and I wanted to become a teacher and coach because all of the coaches in my life had great influence on me as an athlete. I played football and tennis there, but it didn't really work out. It didn't align with me, and then I transferred to Loyola, and then and that's where I kind of got that. I was getting bored with just like lifting weights. I was just getting like kind of big and like just big, and that's it. There's really no mobility. And then I saw that there was a little karate club that offers kickboxing, and I'm like, oh, interesting. Maybe I should try this and see where it go. And I did that, and then I was actually preparing for my first kickboxing fight, and that didn't happen. And one of the guy there was like, "Hey, do you want to do this thing called mixed martial arts or MMA?" And back then, I had absolutely no idea what this was, no idea.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh, what is that?" And he's like, "Oh, you go in a cage and you kind of fight." I was like, "Ooh, oh, like cage fighting, like." And this was new, right? And this is like the internet and YouTube barely was like exploding. It was just, and I was like, "All right, let's go in a cage and fight." And that's how it kind of just propelled me into this era of training and fighting. And granted, MMA was hard, especially in Chicago, because it wasn't centralized. You had to go here for boxing, go there for kickboxing, go there for wrestling, go there for jiu-jitsu. So it was like just the travel alone was just tough, right? And then I met Robbie, like I said, and he was just kickboxing and Thai boxing, and then I just kind of went with that direction instead of trying to do all sorts of things for MMA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta have to focus and funnel the attention. There's only so much energy you
I know.
can put out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've
Trying to
learned.
find a
I've
job
learned
too, yeah.
Right? What were we saying?
And yeah, along with trying to do that, I was trying to find a job to support myself and pay for my loans and everything.
Mhm. So you ended up with quite a hefty loan from school after the fact?
Dude, I'm still paying for it since 2009, and it's 2020.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest downfalls of the education system. Like, how can, and especially because some people don't stay in that field, right? And so then they owe like $100,000 in a field that they don't even work in,
Mm-hmm.
or like serial degree collectors. You know what I mean? They just collect
Yeah,
degrees.
that's right. Yeah.
For the rest of their life. It's
Yeah.
crazy. The whole system is really weird, but
Yeah.
But education is needed, so it's just like the healthcare system. The last episode I just had was about the healthcare system. All that stuff is needed, and it may not be where it's supposed to be or where we would like it to be, but it's better than some places, and better than it could be. You know what I mean? It could be a lot worse. So
absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
You got to be appreciative for what you do have, and then try to make it better.
Yeah, absolutely, completely true.
Well, thank you, man. What one thing you were cutting out? What college did you start out at?
Oh, I started out in Concordia University. It's in River Forest, and then I transferred to Loyola in Chicago.
What was your experience like at Loyola?
With a chemistry degree, pre-med student, there was really no experience. It was in the library, reading, lots of reading, science book, learning, and just there was no experience. It was fun, and I'm glad that I experienced it, because it was just different, being on my own and just focus on studying so hard. Because at Concordia, I was my major was a little easier, and I was playing football and the camaraderie of the team and all this and that, so it was more fun, you can say. Transitioning over to Loyola, it was just science. It was just harder. It was a harder degree, and there was really no fun, you can say, initially. Maybe there was initially, but yeah.
So is mostly Loyola is focused on like healthcare, hospital type of stuff?
I think the degrees that I got at Loyola, that was primarily what it was, healthcare, and all of my friends were either, essentially, they're just like pre-med kids, all of them. So that was like kind of the field that I'm in. I didn't know much. I spent the majority of my time in the science building, so yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Well, man, I appreciate you being on the podcast. I thank you for taking the time, man. It's been
anytime, man. Anytime.
Yeah, and I'd love to, like, hopefully when things open back up and you get going in boxing, maybe we can have you back on and we'll talk some more.
Fantastic. That'll be great, Pat.
Awesome. Well, good luck with everything. Stay safe, man, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, this has been the PeaceSum Music Podcast with Pete Ellis and Nam Ho.
Fantastic.